I was standing in the checkout line at Target, holding a damn $14 candle, when my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something in my gut said, pick it up. Ma'am, we just need your final signature for the mortgage application. The bank can't process it without you. Mortgage? My signature? I hadn't applied for anything. Before I could even breathe, the woman on the phone read the applicant's name out loud. My full legal name, with my husband listed as the co-signer. I swear my heart stopped. And then she said the other name attached to the file, my best friend Ava. That's the exact moment my hands went ice cold and I knew my life was about to flip upside down. Why the hell would my husband and my best friend be connected to a mortgage in my name? And why didn't either of them think I'd ever find out? The call ended with the woman sweetly telling me, just swing by when you can, honey. Like she hadn't just dropped a nuclear bomb on my life. I stepped outside into the parking lot, sat in my car, and locked the doors. My brain was buzzing so loud I could barely hear myself think. My name is Emily, by the way. And up until that moment, I thought I had a perfectly normal life. A loving husband. A loyal best friend. A future that made sense. Yeah, turns out all that was fiction. Because 2 weeks earlier, something weird had already happened. Something I brushed off like an idiot. A medical bill arrived in our mailbox addressed to a woman I didn't know, but my husband was listed as her emergency contact. When I asked him about it, he laughed. Babe, relax. Insurance mix-up. I'll fix it. He never fixed it. And I should have realized then, nothing about this man was real. But why lie about something so small, unless it was part of something much bigger, something he didn't want me anywhere near? The next week, he started coming home freshly showered, smelling like expensive cologne I sure as hell didn't buy. His hair looked styled, like he'd been at some hotel bathroom mirror. When I asked where he'd been, he said, the gym. Right. Because gyms hand out luxury shampoo and aftershave like free samples. And Ava suddenly became too busy for our weekly coffee, avoiding eye contact, always texting someone and hiding her screen like she owed the IRS. My life was starting to feel like a badly written drama show, except it was real, and it was mine. I tried to shake it off, tried to convince myself I was being paranoid, but then I saw her Instagram story, inside a half-renovated house, brand new countertops. Caption, starting fresh. And the worst part? Those countertops looked exactly like the design receipts I'd seen in a recent credit card statement under my name. What the hell were they building? And why were they building it with my identity? I couldn't sleep that night. Ava's stupid starting fresh. Caption kept looping in my head. Fresh from what? Fresh with Huecho? And why did the receipts in my statement match the kitchen in her photo? By morning, anxiety had burned into anger, so I did something new for me. I opened the drawer my husband kept messy on purpose. Men always think we won't touch their chaos. Wrong. Under old receipts and random junk, I found a folder labeled maintenance. Cute. Inside wasn't maintenance. It was my worst nightmare. Mortgage pre-approval. My full name. My SSN. My employer info. My husband as co-signer. And the alternate contact? Ava. My chest tightened. They weren't just lying. They were constructing something, using my identity. But how long had this been going on? And how far were they planning to take it? I didn't confront them. Not yet. I needed facts before they tried to gaslight me again. So I drove to the mortgage office, rage pushing the pedal. The clerk typed my name, smiled, and said, "You're approved for the first round. Just need your wet signature." My what? She turned her screen. There it was, a house in Ava's neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, renovations approved, down payment already in, all under my name. How are renovations scheduled? I asked. Oh, your friend came in yesterday, she said. She said she's helping you move in. Sweet girl. Sweet girl? Please. If Ava was bold enough to walk into a bank claiming she was helping me, what else had she signed pretending to be me? I left shaking. Not crying, not yelling, just shaking. And when I got home, their cars were in my driveway. Both of them. My husband and Ava, sitting together in my living room like it was normal. Ava went pale. My husband stood like he'd been caught stealing. We were... Don't, I said. Not one damn word. I walked past them, pulled the mortgage papers from my bag, and dropped them on the table. Whose idea was this? Silence. Thick, guilty silence. I can explain, he started. I don't need explanations, I snapped. I need the truth. And right then I realized, neither of them were ever going to give it to me. If I wanted answers, I needed someone who exposes lies for a living. A private investigator. I didn't wait for either of them to breathe. I grabbed my keys, walked out, locked myself in my car, and forced my heartbeat to calm down. Then I Googled, private investigator near me. That's how I found Dalton Reyes, ex-military, sharp eyes, zero sugarcoating. Exactly the kind of man who sees through lies for breakfast. His office smelled like burnt coffee and old carpet. Perfect. The vibe of someone who digs up truth even if it stinks. I laid everything on his desk. The mortgage papers, credit charges, screenshots. He scanned them once and said, "Sweetheart, this isn't cheating. This is coordinated identity theft. And whoever planned it knew what they were doing." My stomach turned. "So this wasn't a one-time screw-up?" "Nope," he said. "This took planning, access, months of setup." If it took months, then how long had they been stealing pieces of my life? Dalton asked for both their names. Typed fast, like he already knew he'd find dirt. And he did. "Well, look at that," he muttered. "Your best friend Ava opened a P.O. box 3 months ago. Secondary holder listed as you. My name, my address, my info, used without me ever signing a thing. She forged it," he added casually. "She's been intercepting bank offers, credit notices, anything she could use." My throat dried. "And my husband?" Dalton clicked another file. "He opened a separate checking account last month. And guess whose ID scan is in the system?" I didn't answer. I already knew. Mine. Always mine. But why my identity? Why not theirs? What were they building? Dalton pulled up the house details. Cheap zone. High flip profit. Fast resale area. They were planning a property flip, he said. Your credit carries the risk. Their pockets get the profit. My whole life became a math problem I didn't agree to solve. He gathered everything into a black folder. This is strong, he said. But to blow them up clean, you need one more thing. My voice cracked. What? Intent, he said, sliding me a voice recorder. Get them to slip. Even a small confession works. You're the victim. It's admissible. I stared at the recorder. Small, light, but felt like a weapon. Dalton leaned back. You want your life back? Then you need this. Something in me hardened. For weeks, they treated me like I was clueless, like I wouldn't notice my life being rewritten without me. Not anymore. I wasn't scared. I wasn't confused. I was calculating. And if they thought they could steal my life, they had no idea what I was about to take from them. I drove home with that tiny voice recorder burning a hole in my pocket. My hands were sweating, but my mind? Sharp, focused, ready. When I walked inside, my husband and Ava were still in my living room, sitting far apart now, like two kids waiting for detention. Good, let them sweat. I dropped my keys, took a slow breath, and sat across from them. Calm, too calm, the type of calm that makes guilty people panic. My husband tried to start, and we were just... Save it, I said. I want to understand what's going on. From your side. I slid the voice recorder hidden in my sleeve toward them, and hit record with my thumb. Ava swallowed hard. She looked like someone who knew the trap door was about to open under her feet. My husband rubbed his face. It wasn't supposed to get messy, he said quietly. Messy? Identity theft is messy? Then explain the mortgage, I said. And the P.O. box. And the credit card. And why the hell my name is on everything. Ava's voice cracked first. We were going to pay it off, she whispered. It was temporary. We just needed your score to qualify. Score. My credit score. That's all I was to them. A number they could borrow. But what else did they plan to borrow? My life? My future? My husband leaned forward. It was Ava's idea, he said, throwing her under the bus so fast she didn't even blink. Ava snapped. Don't you dare. You said she'd never find out. The room cracked open. There it was, intent. Clear, loud, recorded. They kept arguing, voices rising, blaming each other, confessing without realizing every sentence was a grenade in my favor. I didn't interrupt. I let them dig their own graves. Then something even uglier came out. Ava shouted, You said once the house flipped, we'd split the profit and move out of this town, away from her, away from me. They were planning an escape plan I wasn't supposed to survive financially. My chest burned, but I kept my voice steady. So you were going to leave me broke? With trashed credit? While you two ran off with the money? Silence. Dead, suffocating silence. My husband looked down. Ava looked away. If they were willing to ruin me financially, what else were they capable of? I stood up. For the first time, neither of them followed me with their eyes. Guilt has weight, and it was crushing them. I'm done, I said. And I meant it. I walked upstairs, shut my bedroom door, and took out the recorder. Every word was there. Perfect. Sharp. Clean. I texted Dalton. Got it. He replied in seconds. Good girl. Tomorrow we drop the hammer. I didn't sleep that night. Not out of fear. Not out of sadness. Out of anticipation. Tomorrow wasn't just payback. It was justice. Karma with receipts. And they had no clue how hard that hammer was about to fall. I woke up before sunrise, fully dressed, recorder in my pocket. Dalton told me to meet him outside the mortgage office. When I pulled up, he was already leaning on his car, sipping black coffee. You ready? He asked. I'd been ready since I heard my best friend's name tied to my mortgage. We walked in. The same clerk smiled, then froze when Dalton flashed his investigator badge and dropped the folder on her desk. Inside were bank statements, forged signatures, screenshots, audio recordings, and last night's confession. The clerk's eyes widened. Oh, this is serious. Dalton nodded. Fraud, identity theft, financial manipulation, intent to profit. She pulled a supervisor, then a manager. Within minutes, they whispered things like, shut this down, and freeze the file. The loan was suspended. Funds blocked. Contractors notified. Their scam stopped cold. Next stop, the bank. Dalton marched us inside. He handed everything to the fraud department. This is identity theft, the manager said. We'll reverse the charges, freeze the accounts, and protect her credit. For the first time in weeks, I felt safe. They scanned my ID, updated my file, and finally said, you won't be held responsible. I almost cried. But the hammer wasn't done. Final stop, my husband's workplace. Corporate, glass building. People walking like mistakes didn't exist. In HR, Dalton placed the folder on the table. Your employee forged documents to scam his spouse. HR didn't blink. Security was called. They asked me to step outside. Through the glass, I watched them confront him. His face went from confused to pale to shaking. 15 minutes later, they escorted him out with a cardboard box. He didn't look at me. Didn't speak. Just kept his head down. I didn't feel joy or pity. I felt closure. And Ava? Dalton forwarded her papers to law enforcement. She got a call that afternoon. Her scream echoed through the neighborhood. But the real ending wasn't their downfall. It was what I did next. Taking my life back piece by piece, building something they could never touch again. The house felt different after everything collapsed. Quieter. Not peaceful quiet, empty quiet. Like the walls were finally done listening to lies. I walked from room to room that night, trying to understand how two people I trusted had nearly rewritten my entire life without me noticing. Dalton called around 7 p.m. They processed her case, he said. Ava's charges are moving forward. Identity misuse, forged documents, mail fraud. It's stacking up fast. Good, but I didn't feel victorious. Just lighter, like someone finally cut the ropes tied to my ankles. I spent the next morning fixing what they'd broken, calling credit bureaus, updating security alerts, changing passwords they never should have had. Every task felt like pulling out another one of their fingerprints from my life. But the real cleanup started when I opened the bedroom closet. My husband's clothes were still hanging there. His suits, his jackets, his stupid gym bag he never actually took to the gym. I dragged it all out, piled it in the living room, and didn't stop until every trace of him was gone. Then I did something small, but meaningful. I lit that $14 Target candle, the one I was holding when the whole nightmare began. Vanilla birch. It smelled like a reset button. But cleaning the mess wasn't enough. I wanted to know why they chose me. Why steal my life instead of building their own? Dalton eventually gave me the answer. Ava had maxed out her credit a year earlier. My husband had racked up debt long before I knew him. They needed someone with stability, someone with clean records, someone who trusted too easily. And that someone was me. It stung, but it also freed me. Their choices had nothing to do with my worth. Only my access. Later that week, I met with a lawyer. We went over every detail, every document, every recording. You played this perfectly, she told me. You protected yourself at the exact right time. For the first time in months, I didn't feel stupid or blind. I felt strategic, capable, like the woman I used to be before my life got hijacked. My husband tried calling once, blocked. Ava tried emailing, deleted. Both tried spinning apologies through mutual friends, ignored. Actions have consequences, and karma doesn't take rain checks. That weekend, I changed the locks, painted the living room, boxed up old photos, rearranged furniture. Every shift felt like pulling a knife out of my own back. Then I wrote one line in my journal. They almost stole my identity, but I reclaimed every piece. And just when I thought the storm had passed, something showed up in the mail that proved the story wasn't over yet. It was a thin white envelope, no return address, no markings, just my name written in shaky handwriting. Inside wasn't a threat, but a warning. A single line. You don't know everything he was hiding. My stomach dropped, because I recognized the handwriting instantly. The moment I recognized the handwriting on that letter, something inside me flipped. It wasn't Ava's, not my husband's. It was his mother's. A woman who hadn't spoken to me in a year. A woman who once hugged me at Christmas and whispered that I wasn't enough. For her son, I reread the single line. You don't know everything he was hiding. My hands shook, this time from rage. If she knew something, this wasn't just a scam. This was a family project. I called Dalton. It's from his mother, I said. She knows something. He exhaled. Then we talked to her. We drove to her blue house, the perfect little lie. She opened the door slowly like she'd been waiting. I knew you'd come. Then talk, I said. She motioned us in and sat on the edge of her couch. He's been doing this for years, she whispered. Not just with Ava, other women, other names. He learned it from his father. My stomach twisted. What exactly did he do? She pulled out a shoebox. Bank letters, IDs, mail for women I didn't know, all with him attached. Dalton flipped through it, jaw tight. This wasn't one scam. This is a pattern. He targets women with good credit, builds loans, walks away, leaves them ruined. The room tilted. I wasn't the first, just the first one who fought back. His mother continued, voice trembling. I tried to stop him once. Ava wasn't his first partner. So who was? She slid a photo across the table. A woman, early 30s, standing beside my husband. Date, 5 years before he met me. Name, Lindsay. Where is she now? No one knows. She disappeared after the investigation. Dalton stood. We need her file. At the courthouse, he pulled strings until we got access. And there it was. The same signature style, same forged patterns, same scam. Ava wasn't special. I wasn't special. He'd done this before. Would have done it again. But Lindsay's file had something mine didn't. A final page that chilled me. A restraining order. Filed, approved, then withdrawn 2 weeks before she vanished. This isn't just fraud, I whispered. This could have been worse. Dalton nodded. We're taking this to law enforcement tomorrow. I stared at the file, heart pounding. If Lindsay disappeared after exposing him, what would he do now that I'd destroyed his life? The courthouse parking lot felt colder than it should have. Maybe it was shock, or the weight of Lindsay's file. Dalton took the papers. We're not keeping this quiet. Detectives tomorrow morning. I nodded, but my stomach twisted. My husband had called 4 times. Missed calls, voicemails, and one text that froze me. We need to talk now. He wasn't supposed to know anything. Someone tipped him off, obviously his mother. Dalton cursed under his breath. He's panicking. Don't go home alone. I wasn't running. If he wanted to talk, he'd get the truth in his face. When I pulled up, his car was already there, parked crooked. He paced the porch like a man watching his lies collapse. As soon as he saw me, he stormed over. We need to talk, he snapped. Talk, I said. You don't understand. I understand everything. And I have it all recorded. His face cracked. Emily, you can't destroy my life over? You tried to steal my identity. Dump dead on me. Run with my best friend. He flinched, then showed his real self. This is your fault. If you weren't so difficult. He didn't regret the scam. Only getting caught. Dalton walked over. You're done. You know that. My husband spun on him. I'll drag all of you down with me. Dalton laughed. You already did that. My husband turned back, desperate. Emily, please. Tell them I wasn't involved. Save it. You built a life on me. Used my name like a spare key. He swallowed. You really called the cops? No, I hired someone better. Dalton tapped the black folder. 10 years of scams. You're finished. My husband staggered, then said the one thing that iced the air. You think I'm the only one you should worry about? You have no idea who else you just pissed off. Dalton grabbed my arm. We're done here, inside. My husband didn't move. Just smirked as I walked inside, like he'd handed me a new nightmare. And it hit me. This wasn't about what he'd done. It was about what was still coming. If you wanted exact character count trimmed, tell me. I'll tighten it to the exact number. The door clicked shut behind me, but my mind replayed his last sentence. You have no idea who else you just pissed off. It didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like a fact. Dalton locked the front door, checked the windows. Emily, he wasn't bluffing. He sounded scared. My husband doesn't get scared. He does if he was working with people smarter or dirtier than him. My chest tightened. Maybe I wasn't dealing with 2 snakes, maybe a whole nest. The next morning we met Detective Rourke. Sharp eyes, the kind who sees lies before you speak. I handed him the folder, everything from my case and Lindsay's. Rourke skimmed it, whistling. He's been doing this forever. Dalton added. His mom confirmed it. His dad ran similar scams. Rourke nodded. Fake IDs, hidden accounts. That's not casual fraud. That's infrastructure. My stomach twisted. Infrastructure for what? Identity flipping, he said. Organized crime on a small scale. Then he ran a search on my SSN. A list popped up. Credit pulls, loan checks, 7 inquiries. That wasn't me, I whispered. It wasn't him either, Rourke said. These came from 3 locations. He wasn't the only one using your identity, Dalton cursed. He sold her information. The room spun. My husband didn't just use me, he traded me. Rourke leaned forward. There are others involved, buyers, they'll be pissed. A chill shot through me. Are they dangerous? Not the type who show up. But they will try to run more loans before the system blocks them. Dalton stood. Then we shut them down today. Hours of forms, freezes, flags. It felt like patching bullet holes. But it wasn't over. When I got home, a plastic-wrapped folder sat on my porch. No, just 1 taped page. If you think he stopped at identity theft, you're not ready for what comes next. Dalton arrived minutes later, saw it, and his face hardened. This isn't from him, he said. This is someone who knows the whole game. Inside the folder was a list. A target list. My name was at the top. The moment Dalton opened that plastic-wrapped folder, the air shifted. Not fear, not shock, just the realization my husband's scam was only the surface. Names, addresses, birth dates. A list of women whose identities had been used, flipped, drained, sold. Some crossed out. Some circled. Mine? Underlined, twice. Dalton exhaled. This is bigger than we thought. He didn't just scam, he supplied people. My throat tightened. So what does that mean for me? It means you stopped their pipeline. And people who lose money get angry. Not what I wanted to hear. He called Detective Rourke, who told us to bring the folder in. Before we left, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Mistake. A distorted voice. You think exposing him fixes anything? My blood iced. Who is this? You cost people money. They want it back. Dalton grabbed the phone, tried tracing it. Cut instantly. Burner, he muttered. We went to the station. Rourke read the folder, nodding. This matches an ongoing case. Your husband wasn't the mastermind. The real one is a guy called Marshall. I've never heard of him. You have? Rourke said, sliding over a photo. The contractor from Ava's renovation. The man tied to charges on my account. Marshall, Dalton cursed. Rourke nodded. He uses people like your husband for documents. Freezing your name cost him. So what do I do? Stay alert. We'll handle him. Your evidence might end it. For the first time, the system felt like it was actually on my side. At home, the silence felt different. Mine again. I wrote in my journal. He tried to erase me. I became the one thing he couldn't outrun. The next morning, Rourke called. Marshall was arrested, and with him, the entire identity-flipping ring. Ava's charges stuck. My husband faced multiple felonies. The victims were being contacted. Justice wasn't fast, but it hit hard. I stepped outside with my coffee and breathed in the cold air. My life didn't just survive the storm. It outlived it. Because in the end, karma didn't just visit them. It moved in.